Fenerbahçe wants Zinchenko. Roma wants Sancho. Villa want Trossard. And Eze is off to Spurs. So much to talk about in such little time. The Premier League is one day away, and we just have to get into it. I'm Ty Knight here for TK24 Sports. If you're new to the show, like, subscribe, turn that notification on so you don't miss a show every time we upload. Let's go. So let's start off with a big one. Eze going to Spurs. No bid has been made yet from Tottenham Hotspur. They got battered last night by PSG. Yes, when I say battered, battered on penalties, battered in spirits, battered in the fact that they are just Spursy. How can you be 2-0 up with 8 minutes to go and throw it away, conceding 2 goals, going out on penalties with your keeper unable to do anything at all whatsoever? Bearing in mind, Donnarumma was not even in goal. So, what does it mean for Spurs? Well, they're going to go after Eberechi Eze from Crystal Palace. You know that James Maddison is out, of course, but Eze is out there on the market. Arsenal have fumbled the bag on this one. They have dropped it completely, allowing Spurs to jump in there with Thomas Frank as the new manager and bring in a maverick of a class of Eze. Now, no bid has been made as of yet, but all the reports are there so far this morning from a Ben Jacobs, a Fabrizio Romano, of course, Mr. Tapping King. But we're waiting for the big one, really and truly, the David Ornstein, when he comes in and says, it's all over, done deal. Spurs have made an official bid. No official bid yet has been made by Spurs to Crystal Palace. I think they're waiting for Arsenal to come in, but Arsenal aren't making moves with the likes of Zinchenko now being linked with Fenerbahçe. They're holding big talks there. 20 million plus add-ons could be enough to tempt Arsenal to sell Zinchenko, which I think it needs to be done. £150,000 a week on the wages needs to be removed. Why have I moved on from Eze straight to Arsenal? Because if Arsenal can't sell Zinchenko as well as Alexander Trossard, I think that this leaves the way with someone open to come in. Could it be an Eze? Could it be a Rodrigo? Could it be a Leao? We don't know. But we do know that Spurs want Eze, and Eze, from what we're understanding, wants Spurs. But he does want Arsenal as well. So let's not deflect that one, but as it stands, Eze looks like he's going to Spurs, where Arsenal are shipping out Zinchenko and they're going to be shipping out Trossard. If Trossard goes to Aston Villa, that strengthens Villa, but not to the point where it makes Arsenal weaker and Villa much stronger than Arsenal. No, it just clears the decks for maybe going after a pure left winger. What does it mean for Madueke coming in? Is he just going to be the deputy for Bukayo Saka? What does it mean for Martinelli going forward? Is he going to be the progressive one that's going to start non-stop on the left-hand side? Or does Madueke really and truly come in and kick Martinelli's backside and take that left wing position, which I think is open for someone to take? But who's it going to be? We don't know. Trossard going to Fenerbahce with a 20 million with plus add-ons is something you have to look out for. It's something you have to keep a big eye on there for Arsenal fans and think, you know what, if this move goes ahead, this is fantastic news. We start selling players at last with a bit of money that comes in. That makes it easier for Arsenal to go and do something. Not before the Man United game on Sunday, no. But it means before the deadline day happens on September the 1st, it means Arsenal can bring in one more attacking midfielder. Is it going to be on the left or is it going to be the number 10? But it may not be the number 10 because once Ethan Ranieri signed his new contract, I think there was a little dialogue there between Arteta and Ranieri as to where he's going to play more. He's not going to be playing on the right-hand side because they got Madueke there now to cover the right and the left. But the 10 position for Martin Odegaard when he was, having big fatigues last season, that we had no one there to take that mantle. But I still think it could be the double threat of Eze coming in. And when I say the double threat in the sense of he can play 8, 10, and over there on the left-hand side. But does it mean that Mikel Arteta fancies him? Does he fancy him enough to go after Eze, do an all-in assault, bring in the likes of an Eze and make Arsenal true title contenders to Liverpool and Manchester City? But what about Jadon Sancho? What about that one? Before we get to that one, let's talk about Trossard. Trossard going to Aston Villa, with Aston Villa holding initial talks and will put a bid in, no doubt about it. Trossard, of course, wants to start week in, week out. That's how he sees himself. That's how he fancies himself so much as a starting player. Under Mikel Arteta, he's not a starter, in my opinion. He's not good enough to be a starter for Arsenal, but he's better as an impact player. Sometimes you can start him, yes, against certain teams who will sit a low block, and Trossard can get in there. He can shoot. He's one of our best shooters in the team, but he doesn't have the pace. And what Arsenal needs someone out there on the left-hand side is with pace. But as I'm saying with pace, go back to Eze very quickly, he doesn't have the pace that you need to beat a one-on-one. That's why you got a Madueke. So the player that's going to come in, could it be a Rafael Leao? Could it be a Rodrigo? Who, it remains to be seen. But if you get rid of a Trossard and a Zinchenko, those wages can mount to be bringing in a Rodrigo. But Manchester City have something to talk about that one, don't they? Because they somehow being linked with that one. But yeah, remains to be seen. Remains to be seen. Focus on what's going on right now. With Roma now jumping into the bid for Jadon Sancho and Manchester United looking at that deal as a possibility, you have to watch his space. Jadon Sancho, as we know, was at Chelsea last season on loan. Chelsea decided, no, we're not going to pay, the fee that we agreed for to buy Jadon Sancho. Jadon Sancho didn't want to take a wage in cut, or cutting wage, should I say? But now I think he's thinking about it. I'll take a wage cut. I'll get out of Premier League. I'll get out of Dodge. I'll get out of Manchester United, and I'll start afresh abroad. He more than likely spoke to Marcus Rashford and said, yo, what's it like abroad? What's it like to be there? He's just saying, listen, go and do something new. You're young, you're gifted, you're talented-ish. Go and try and make a name for yourself. You're going to go over there to Italy. You're going to be a starter. So that one remains to be seen if it's going to work or not. Manchester United have to think about it. Long term, is it better to get rid of a Jadon Sancho? Do we need to keep him out here at Manchester United? I don't think you do. You need to accept the figure, accept that he's not the 70, 80, 90 million pound player that you thought he was going to be. I questioned the moment he was signed if he's going to live up to the reputation that was preceded upon him when he was over there at Borussia Dortmund. He's practiced to deceive. He really and truly has. So if he's going to go over there to Italy and make a name for himself, now's the time to do it. Now's the time to show what he's all about. I don't think he's bothered about playing for England. I really and truly don't. And I don't think England fans are bothered about Jadon Sancho representing the country. What Jadon Sancho needs to be worried about is, can he recover the form and the sort of goals and assists that he was doing over there in Germany, over there in Italy? That remains to be seen. But what's your thoughts so far for what I've reported? Is it going to Spurs over Arsenal? That's a big possibility right there. Trossard and Zinchenko going out of Arsenal when Trossard's been coming out crying yet again, and then Jadon Sancho potentially going off to Italy to apply his new trade. All that could be good news for Arsenal and Manchester United and Spurs as well. But Arsenal fans, are you upset if Eze goes to Spurs? Man United fans, are you excited with the possibility of Sancho at last exiting Manchester United? And Arsenal fans, what's your thoughts on Zinchenko and Trossard leaving Arsenal before the transfer deadline is done? Does it make Aston Villa better? Does it make Fenerbahçe better? Does it make Roma better? Does it make the whole transfer window better? And what about Spurs? My God, you blew it against PSG. Thank goodness for that. But you could be getting Eze because of Madison. I'm Ty Knight here for TK24 Sports. Thanks for watching the show. Like, subscribe, turn the notification on. Watch one of these other shows as it's popped up on your screen. And keep on supporting. Goodbye.